Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Simply Based Plant Diet with Dr. Jeanne Schumacher, my longtime friend. This woman is unstoppable. When she puts her mind to something, she will not be denied. She is one of those people that is committed. When she goes in, she goes all in. Like so many of us in this life, there's some of us that commit and some of us that are just curious. And one of these things that Jeanne has taken care of is her health destiny. And through Simply Based Plant Diet and all these amazing opportunities she's going to share with you guys today, I am excited for all of the people that are going to see this message, Jeanne, because I know from someone that's been in the chemistry field for over 25 years, teaching this to her students, you became a master at the chemicals that go into our body, the toxins that we breathe in, the toxins that we eat, the toxins that we tell ourselves. So we have this compound effect of all these different things that come into our toxicity. So I am absolutely honored to be here with Jeanne today and to share her wisdom to Facebook and whoever's going to see this message down the road, knowing that we can absolutely take charge of our health destinies, but it's up to us to decide. We are the choosers of our life. We are the choosers of our health destiny. So without further ado, I want to introduce Dr. Jeanne Schumacher. Welcome, Jeanne.
Oh, thank you, Joe, for that kind introduction. We've known each other for a while, and it's been wonderful and knowing you, and you've helped me on so many different projects. So with all your fountain knowledge of building and constructing and all that good stuff. So thank you so much. I don't know if I've ever shared with you my entire story, but for me, my journey started with a trip to the emergency room, Danbury Medical Center. I had about 105.5 fever, and
Wow.
my blood pressure was about 250 over 150. And by all accounts, I should have stroked out. I really should have. No ifs, ands, or buts. And so the woman, they never did find out what was wrong with me, and I frankly don't care. I was in the hospital for a week and I was never so sick. I was shivering. One minute I was they had to put a mouth guard in between my teeth because they were afraid I was going to chip my teeth. I was shivering and I couldn't control myself. And then I would go into sweating and I would sweat so profusely. I'd soak the bed, soak me, my hair, everything. And this went on for a week. And the woman who was taking care of me was not only a medical doctor, but she was a nutritionist, which is such a rare combination. So what she did is help me. I mean, every day, sometimes you have to hit me over the head with a 2x4. You know that, Joe. I mean,
That's me too. I get it.
So, I mean, you have to hit me over the head with that 2x4 and go, okay, you have my attention. Got it. Yes. And so every day she would come in and ask me, what do you eat? What do you eat? What do you eat? And it finally dawned on me, like, oh, like the food I'm eating is like, has an impact on my health. So after I got out of the hospital, I went to go see her as a nutritionist. And she started me on a book called Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease. And as they say, that was, I never looked back. And I have been voracious in my research and in just learning about that. There's so much to learn about nutrition, about the health, and about the human diet, and what are we supposed to be eating. And, when you start to look at the human physiology, it's just impressive. So that, I don't know if I ever shared that with you, my journey.
Not in that depth, Jeanne, not in that depth, but I can visualize you being in the emergency room. And it sounds like you're on death's door. When your teeth are chattering like that, that's the body shutting down, right? Ultimately. Yeah. So it's like, I'm so amazed that from where you were to when I met you, when I was drinking that Gatorade on top of the roof, you're like, Joe, don't drink that stuff. It's not good for you. I was like, oh no, it says right on the bottle. Like, the commercial tells me this is good for me. This has got electrolytes. It's gonna nourish my body. And the reality was, it was the exact opposite.
And in my journey, I've lost over 100 pounds at this point. I have so much energy. I mean, I feel like I can leap tall buildings in a single bound. And I feel so much better than I ever did. And it's because of the food. And, I teach about what I call the trifecta. So you have to change what goes in. So that's food and drink. You have to change what goes on. So that's like the personal care products, because literally in 26 seconds, it's going to be in your bloodstream. Anything you put on your body, shampoo, deodorant, toothpaste, any of those things. So if anybody wants more information about that, I'm glad to talk about that. But then you have to exercise. There's no getting around that. So those are what I call my 3 pillars. There's a lot more to health, but those are you have to have that foundation to begin to build your health back and get it back.
Because I think it's very important for the listeners that, and your name is perfect, Simply, right? How do we keep health simple? Because there's so much complexity to it. You start reading some of this riboflavin and all these things. Normally, you're a chemistry professional for over 25 years. We don't understand that. When you started teaching me about how to read a food label, and I got another friend of mine tells me about shopping on the outside of the grocery store. Don't shop in the middle of the grocery store, right? So all these things that the average person like myself that doesn't know about chemistry and health and all this other stuff, to learn from you for over 10 years now was an absolute honor and blessing. So I want to thank you for all that wisdom. I have a kangen machine, however you want to pronounce it. For almost 5 years now, drinking alkaline water. I went to a different toothpaste, right? So I'm having Tom's and these ones that have no fluoride. I stopped drinking fluoride water. I got rid of the aluminum and then my deodorant. I mean, all these little things over a long period of time is what changes our health destiny. Is that correct?
That is, you got it. You're spot on. And it's a journey, and every day, we teach you. And that's what my whole point is, that I teach you simply. I give you action steps, simple action steps to change you. And that's what we're doing in this challenge that we've got coming up. It's starting January 9th. On Saturday. We're going to prep you and get you ready, Friday, Saturday before that. But it's going to be an awesome challenge to help you, to introduce you to this plant-based lifestyle and give you a good foundation to get you going. We're going to give you the recipes because you're like, I don't know what to eat. Okay, fine. Not a problem. We got you covered. Okay. Simple recipes that you can make at home. And we're going to talk about shop, chop, cook and batch prepping and getting into this. And we're going to talk about why. What are the benefits of going this way? And protein, because that's a big question. I'm going to curl up and die in a corner because I'm not going to get enough protein. Oh, we got you covered. It's not an issue. So, because we've been misled. There's a lot of misinformation out there. And that's what our program is about. We're trying to share this information so that people can understand how important it is that what you put into your mouth has a huge, profound effect. I mean, I've lost 100 pounds. I've gotten off 4 blood pressure medications. I've healed my thyroid, which I was told was impossible. My doctor handed me the prescription when my thyroid started going. She's like, and I saw it was circled 4 times, for 4 refills. And I'm like, Doc, how long am I supposed to be on this? And she's like, for the rest of your life. And I'm like, no. I'm not a pill person.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because I've been studying this now ever since I met you 10 years ago, and then another friend of mine I was telling you about. I've learned a lot about health over these last 5 years, and I'm really deep into this. So they talk about the power that made the body is the power that heals the body, and it doesn't happen any other way. So as you talk about healing the thyroid, I've heard of people reversing MS. I've heard of people reversing diabetes. So is this possible?
Absolutely. My husband has reversed MS. Okay, Carl. Totally. He had it. He doesn't have it. And if he changed, he would get it back because he's already got the foundation for it. It's not that it ever went away, but he has no symptoms of it. Okay. Diabetes, type 2, we're talking about. Type 1 is a different case scenario. But type 2, that's foodborne. That's it because of the end of what you're eating at the end of your fork. And I have helped people reverse their diabetes without question. And getting people off. And I've interviewed hundreds of people that have done this, that have gotten off of their meds, have lost phenomenal amounts of weight, and feel so much better. I think that's what the awesome thing is. I'm not in pain. I don't feel bad. I feel amazing. I feel better now at 60. I am 60 years old. I feel better now at 60 than I was at 30, without question.
I'm with you. I am with you on that one. So as you're speaking, I'm going through this journey in my mind of where I was 10 years ago. When I met you, I was about 187 pounds. I had a bad elbow. I'm a big sports guy. So I was a pitcher, fisherman, golfer, all that right elbow exercise, right? And I felt like crap. I used to wake up with hangovers. I was drinking alcohol. I was doing all these things that were not imperative. So as soon as I met yourself, you talked about the diet thing and talked about what I was putting in my mouth. So I started studying the labels. Then I met a great gentleman, Louis Russo, who talked about if it's white, it's not right. White flour, white rice, sugar, salt. So I started eliminating that out of my diet. And lo and behold, a little bit of exercise, changing over a long period of time. So it's been like 5 years. I do a green smoothie every single morning. As you see here, I got my lemons and I got my lemon water. I drink this almost every single day, about 95% of the time. And my body, I wake up with energy. I go to bed with energy. Now I thought it'd be the exact opposite. And now I'm back to my army weight. When I was back in the military in the mid 80s, I'm like, how is this possible? But it shows you that little increments, simple, keeping it simple, just a little bit every day. Maybe start with one healthy meal. Because for most people, in our minds, is our biggest obstacle, right? So we say, well, I can never do that, Joe. I can never have no meat. This is impossible. And here's Kathy, my wife. She's been doing this for 5 years since we met you. She stopped eating meat. So 5 years, and she's healthier now, and she's more spiritually connected now than any time before. So I'm like, all these things for the listeners out there, this is very important, is that don't make the mind control you. You control the mind. You tell the mind what you're going to do. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm doing a 7-day challenge this Saturday, starting with Dr. Jeanne Schumacher. Kathy is on board. Another friend of mine, Chuck's on board. A couple more people. I encourage you for 7 days. We can do anything for 7 days. Sometimes we can do it for 30 days. After that 30-day mark, and you know all about this, there's something that happens in the mind and it wants to go back to where we were. But the reality is that you can pay me now or you can pay me later. Talk about that.
Well, I look at it this way. I can either pay the doctor or I can pay the grocer.
Yes.
And the grocer, a lot cheaper, just saying, okay? I had to go to the emergency room. That trip cost me over $30,000. That was 1 week in the hospital. That buys a lot of food. And anytime that you'd have these chronic illnesses, whether it be diabetes, heart disease, completely reversible, completely. There's studies out there with Dean Ornish, Caldwell Esselstyn, I mean, on and on and on. They've shown that you can reverse heart disease. People that were scheduled for triple bypass have gone plant-based. Hey, guess what? Their body healed. They don't need it anymore. Wow.
Cancers too. I've heard of cancers being cured by changing their diet. Smoothies and doing a cleanse and getting all these toxicities out of our bodies. So talk a little bit about the air, the water that we're drinking, the food that we're putting into our diet, spraying the chemicals, GMOs. Talk a little bit about that, please.
Well, and that's one of the big things, as a former chemistry teacher, I stepped out of the classroom this year, and what a year to step out of the classroom, just saying.
Congratulations.
35 years of teaching, okay? I'm like, okay, because I want to focus on helping other people to change their health destiny. That's all I want to do for the rest of my life, is to help people to change, because you can do this without question. And I think you said, I can't give up meat. Okay. We can find ways and things that can substitute that. And that's a good transition, but you're going to find, and I'm going to just share this quick story. I used to make, I still make my dog food, and I would add some chicken to it, but I don't do that anymore. But when I was doing that, and I would cook the chicken, because it smelled so bad to me now, cooking meat. And I would take the crock pot and I would put it outside, okay? And so it was like 17 degrees out this year. And I'm like, yeah, I couldn't put the crock pot outside. It's not going to cook. So I put it in the garage. And Carl went out to the garage, and I didn't tell him. And he's like, oh, my God, I think the septic backed up into the garage. It smells. No, that's just the chicken cooking. So that's how bad the meat smells to us, because we're not really supposed to, and we're not really designed. And if you think about all the meat that we do eat, we have to put sauces and seasonings and everything else to make it taste palatable to our mouth. So if you think about that, and, but we are being exposed to a lot of toxins, and these poor animals how sad for these animals. I mean, just saying.
I've seen the movies. I've seen those movies.
Oh, and it breaks my heart just watching them, because it about tears me up. I really have a hard time watching them.
But let's talk a little bit. How can the listeners?
Well, wait. I just want to share with you, the animal industry on this planet, it trashes our planet. And we only have one planet. It's not like we're going to Mars anytime soon, and that would be awful living there, because you'd have to live in a spacesuit. But just one quarter pounder. Think about this the next time you go through a drive-through, through a McDonald's or Burger King, you get that quarter pounder. To get that quarter pounder, okay, that 4 ounces of hamburger, that took 7 pounds of grain and forage. For one quarter pounder, 53 gallons of drinking water, okay, and for the cow, and then for also irrigating the crops that the cow eats. 75 square feet for grazing and growing feed crops, and then
Wow.
over 1,000 BTUs of production transport, and that's enough power to run a microwave for 18 minutes, okay? That's 1/4 pounder, and I could go on about the stats. What were you going to say?
Yes. Don't bore me with the stats because I am not, I want it simple. Give me one page where I can go ahead and look at the menu and I can create something and make this happen.
Right.
So what I did and what I started doing was, and I was a meat and potatoes guy growing up, right? That's what we had, meat and potatoes. Meat and potatoes. So it's always red meat and steak and prime ribs and all this stuff. And I started learning about in World War II, when they came in and took over the Netherlands, they took over all their crops. They started eating the cows. They started getting heart disease. This was back in the 40s. We knew about this.
Right.
So now I went down to, instead of having it 4 or 5 times a week red meat, I started going down to 2, then eventually 1, and eventually just started getting those things out of my diet because I know the inflammation that it puts inside of my body. And guess what? We only get one vehicle to walk around this earth, and if we don't take care of it now, we won't be taking care of it later. And I was talking with Kathy this morning, and I remembered a quote by the Dalai Lama was talking about, like myself, business owner, entrepreneurs, all we want to do is work, 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 money, 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 right? We're trying to make these things. And once I understood that we needed the balance of the 4 areas of life and have this pillar and this foundation under us, is that we can have all those things, yes. But if you're making all this money, and now you got to take the money that you're making, sacrificing your health, so now you got to pay the doctor $30,000 of that hard-earned money. I would have rather been fishing or golfing or out there enjoying myself in nature instead of having to pay this money to the doctor. Speak to that, please.
It's true. It's absolutely true. And once you start to look at that, how simple it is, and how, I mean, this is a machine. This is a high performance vehicle right here. Just saying, okay. And if you put the wrong fuel, and I use it and compare it to when I win lotto, okay, my first purchase is going to be a 1969 metallic blue convertible Corvette. Okay, that was my car. It drives like a tank. I really don't care, but God, it looks beautiful. And can it move like a bullet, okay? Kerosene, fantastic fuel. It runs jets. But if you take that kerosene and you put it into that Corvette, that'll be a sad day because you're going to kill that engine. And the engine at least has a little bit more sense than us, because the engine will go, yeah, I'm not running. You just broke me. And you would have to repair that engine. But at least our body tries to use whatever fuel that we put into it, good or bad or whatever. It tries, but then it expresses it as dis-ease. Dis meaning against, being at ease with the body. So that's where the word disease comes from. And so that's our body telling us what you're doing is not working. And when you put the right fuel into the body, it makes a huge difference. And you know it right away. And I use this analogy. I can come up, I got a good punch. I got a good punch. I can come up and punch you, okay? And if I do that every day in your arm, after like a week, your arm is just going to go, oh my God, it's going to be inflamed. It's going to be black and blue. It's going to be painful. You're going to go to the doctor. The doctor's going to go, oh my goodness. It's going to give you some steroids for the inflammation. It's going to give you some pain medication. But if I just stopped hitting you, your arm would heal.
Give me the 2x4 over the head. And that's us. We are hard-headed.
Yeah.
That's the hard-headed humans, right? The Triple H, right? That just came to me, the hard-headed humans. And how many times do we have to have something happen to us before we actually change what we're doing? If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, guess what? You're going to get the same exact results.
Exactly. And dieting. I mean, I've been on every diet my whole life. Except I didn't do the tapeworm diet, okay, where they actually gave you tapeworms and a sugar pill. Okay, I didn't do that one. But I've done pretty much everything else. And I wanted to blow my brains out at Weight Watchers. I mean, like, how many points you could, are you kidding? He immediately tried to figure out how you could, manipulate the system, because that's how we are. I'm a food addict. I'll be the first to go, hi, I'm Jeanne Schumacher. I'm a food addict. And I am. But I've learned to control that. It's not willpower. Oh, please. I have no willpower at all, like zero, none, okay? But what I did is I changed my home to make it my wellness center. And that's what my house is my wellness center. So nothing comes into here that is going to hurt me and cause inflammation.
I remember working at your house, and we were doing some construction on that great property you have there in Westchester, and you had this big tall thing, this hydroponic thing, growing your fruits and vegetables, your basil, and you're peeling things off, and you were cooking that day for us when Kathy and I came over. So it's amazing what they have out there in technology today. I know I was reading some stuff online about 25 families are being fed with like solar power, and by the time they get to the top of this greenhouse and they pick the plants, they get to the bottom, the new ones are growing. So it just feeds 25 families. So
I know.
it's absolutely amazing what is out there today that most people don't understand, because they want you to go to the grocery store and have these. I had a grape the other day. It looked like a pumpkin. It was shaped like a pumpkin. It's from the GMOs they were pumping into the grape. I'm like, what in the world are they doing to our food? When I grew up, I knew of one kid, Jamie Orr. I'll never forget him. He was mentally retarded. And I always took to this kid. I was like, I'm going to help this kid, right? I never heard of autism. But autism is like off the charts today. What's the story with autism?
Oh my God. I grew up in 1960 and I didn't meet my first autistic child until the 1990s. Now,
Right.
according to the CDC, it's 1 out of 54. 1 out of 54 children are now autistic. And they require a phenomenal amount of care and intervention and training to be able to function in society, because they cannot handle they can't pick up normal cues from the environment, the social interactions. They don't get it. So now we're seeing that. And at one end we have autism, at the other end we have Alzheimer's. Again, foodborne. Okay, totally preventable. You can't prevent that. When you walk, you just don't wake up and have Alzheimer's. You just don't. Okay,
Yes.
that is foodborne, and if you take time now to make sure that you won't get it when you're down the road. I can't say you're not going to ever get it, because there's other factors going on. But if you change, you can hedge your bets. Let's put it that way, so that you
Increase your possibilities of not ever getting that.
No,
It's like
for
smoking. If you smoke, guess what? You have a greater chance of getting cancer. If you don't smoke, you don't. So sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're in proximity of these
Right.
chemicals in these foods.
No, for sure. And it is such a huge burden on our society. And who's going to pay for all of this? I mean, in terms of schooling, it takes a lot of resources. And there's a movie called Secret Ingredients out there. And if anybody hasn't seen this, oh my God, it's by Jeffrey Smith. And I got to interview him. And the interview that I did, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. I mean, the stuff he was talking about, it was.
I mean, I've been reading a lot about the soil, how it's depleted of all its
Yes.
nutrients and minerals from how much food we've been growing. This is not sustainable.
No.
It's impossible to sustain the pathway that we're on right now. So there has to be alternatives. So explain some of the alternatives. What can we look forward to going forward? What can we look forward to in your challenge coming up this Saturday?
Right. Well, first we got lots of prizes coming up, because we're going to give away some things that are going to help support you, like an Instant Pot, an air fryer, and a blender. We're giving away some Dr. Greger's books on how not to die. That's important, and then some products from Pure Haven, which meet my standards in terms of no toxins, 100% toxic free. But we're going to give you the recipes. We're going to give you some choices. Okay, choose out of this list, pick 2 soups to make, pick 2 salads to make, pick 2 entrees to make, pick 2 desserts, because this is not about deprivation, because who doesn't like desserts? I love them. Me. Wait till you see the nice cream. Oh, so good. Oh my God, so easy and so good. But we're going to teach you, each day we're going to meet at 5:00 Eastern Standard Time on Zoom, and we're going to connect. And we're going to teach you about this. First of all, how to shop, chop, prep, and create your wellness center. Why go plant-based? Let's learn the benefits about this. What is the diet of humans? Are we carnivores? Is this a system that's supposed to digest other animals? And what will I get enough protein? Because that's a question I get a lot, is, what about protein? Because I think there's a lot of misinformation out there about that. And then what meat, fish, and eggs, what are the issues? And this is going to be some real eye-opening information here about this. And then dairy. We spent one day just on dairy, because wow, can I just say, you are not a baby cow. You're consuming the lactating fluid of another species, and there's no other animal on this planet that once you're weaned will consume the lactating fluid of another species.
Great point, because I used to drink a glass of milk a day. I don't drink coffee. I don't drink tea. That was my beverage of choice, because milk does the body good, I was told.
That's marketing. That's marketing. We also have a VIP program that is going to help people that, we're going to have 3 additional classes. We're going to learn how to read that nutrition label and give you lots of hands-on practice, because there's a few key pieces that we can teach you to say whether this is going to be something that's going to be good or hurt you. And then we're going to talk about fiber. That's the gut biome superhero. And we're going to do a fiber challenge. And then we're going to teach you how to successfully eat out. And our VIPs also get all the recordings. They get access to that. And they're going to get also these extra recipes and these cooking videos. What I did is I took the recipe and I made it into a video, and I teach you in about 2 minutes or less how to make that dish. So you're going to get lots of great support, either way, whether you're using the free program or you're going to go to our VIP. So, yeah.
What I'm hearing is value. What I'm hearing you're delivering is value, right? So we have a free 7-day challenge to join your 7-day challenge with the Simply Based plant food-based diet. And then you also have a VIP package. If anybody wants to take it deeper, says, you know what, Jeanne, I am ready. I am tired of having low energy. I'm tired of being overweight. So most of America's overweight. Many of them are obese from the foods we've been eating. I can't tell you the last time I've eaten out at a fast food restaurant. It's been years and years and years. So thank you to you for awakening me to the reality. I thought that was normal. That's what I was taught. I watched the commercials. So since then, I've turned off TV. I've turned off I just started letting the intuition within me come forward. And I know that you've been doing the same thing, but also you were talking earlier about the pregnancy advantage. Talk a little bit about that with Dr. Deborah Shapiro. You guys created this, because a lot of people are having a hard time having babies right now.
It's true. It's very true. And it's because of the food. It's because of the environment and the toxins that we're being exposed to. Because a lot of these chemicals are what's called endocrine disruptors. Okay. And like our whole reproductive system is functions on hormones. So if you're consuming chemicals that are going to cause issues in your hormones, your reproductive system, do you think that's going to have a problem with you having a baby? Yeah, you are. And so I saw it. Well, Dr. Deborah Shapiro, she's an OBGYN, and she has been catching them, coming them out of the chute, okay? And they were seeing in the umbilical cords that these kids, not even an hour old, were coming out with on average 200 chemical toxins in their bloodstream, in the umbilical cord, which was going to them. So she was seeing it when they were catching them coming out of the chute. I was seeing the impact in the classroom and saw how, the increase in ADD, ADHD, and general health as well. Kids who are now teenagers were type 2 diabetics. Type 2 should not happen. That should be the time when you were the healthiest. And at least a third of every one of my classes were dealing with major health, chronic health issues and things that they didn't understand. Doctors didn't know why they were having all these health problems. And I'm like, yeah, I know why. It's the food and the toxins. And as soon as you clean up your diet, it's like amazing how fast you clean up yourself and heal. You can heal the body. And so I was seeing it in the classroom. And I said, you know what? The only way we're going to fix this is to change, to fix the very next generation, is to get to the women before they get pregnant. And so if we can change that and change what they're doing to their body before they conceive, because here's the key thing, and I didn't know this, and the hairs on the back of my neck stood up when I found this out, that when you conceive, at that moment of conception, that body, the baby is kind of like in a frozen time. And the toxins that you had, the toxin load that you had on your body at pregnancy, that's what the baby's going to be swimming in for 9 months. They cannot detoxify until they come out and start pooping, okay, to be blunt, okay? That's the only way they can get some of the toxins out. But that's what they're developing in, is these toxins. And a lot of these toxins, there's 2 types of chemicals, without going into major detail: water soluble, fat soluble. If it's water soluble, you pee it out. Fat soluble, hey, that's staying in your body. And a lot of these toxins are fat soluble. So that's going to cause a huge problem. Huge, huge problem.
Yeah, I know a lot of my friends have been doing the in vitro thing and wanting to get pregnant. And it could be as simple as just changing your diet.
Yes.
Taking the toxicity out of your body, because God in the universe is not going to allow this to recreate when it's going to have an issue on the other side when you have birth. So it gets halfway through a pregnancy and all of a sudden we have an abortion, because that it wasn't in alignment, right? So when we're not in alignment with our chemistry makeup, and some of this stuff is changing our DNA, some of the stuff that we're taking.
Oh, absolutely. And especially some of the personal care products, that's the one that just scares me, really. The two things that scare me a lot about these chemicals that we're putting on, first of all, one is that they're bioaccumulative, meaning that they're going to stay in the body. And two, that they can change the cell at the cellular level. In other words, change your DNA. That's changing the map of your body. And that's a problem. That is. We don't know what the consequences are going to be, but you're going to start to see DNA changes. And that is not a good thing. So we need to start changing what we're doing. And that's why Deborah and I started this program, the Pregnancy Advantage, because we wanted to help women to, first of all, you're having trouble conceiving. I had one woman who was in, when we were doing the challenges, we were doing weight loss challenges, and I have a weight loss program as well. But when we were doing these challenges back in the day, she had gone through in vitro fertilization and she got pregnant. This was a long time ago, 17 years, okay? She had never had to use contraceptives because she never got pregnant again, okay, after that time, okay? 17 years, right? She did one of our challenges. Guess what?
There's the baby. How's the song go? Whoop, there it is.
I'm saying. I mean, and when you start to make it so that it is a place that you can create and develop this baby, it's going to happen. And I'm not going to say that's going to be for every person, because every person's situation is going to be different. And that's why we're here. We have an amazing support system and educational program to help you to understand what you're doing and why you're doing this and the impact that's going to have on you and your future children. Because here's the thing, and I don't know if you ever thought about this, but think about this. When I was pregnant with my daughter, not only was I pregnant with my daughter, but I also connected with my grandchild, because as I was creating my daughter, I was also creating her eggs, because she only gets one set of eggs, throughout her life. So the eggs that she created, I created those eggs in her. Those are the eggs that she's going to carry forward and create her child. So I'm touching not only my daughter, but my grandchild at the same time. So this is an area of a study called epigenetics, and we can change the outcome. Our genes are like light switches. You can turn them on, and you can turn them off. Now, there's some genes that are permanently on. You can't touch those, like what color your skin is, or the color of your hair, or the color of your skin. Those are on, okay? But 95% of your genes are like a light switch. You can turn them on and off. So these are changes that we can see and make happen. And so, you may have, like, for example, the gene for breast cancer. My mother had it, my aunt had it, my grandmother had it, my sister has it. I'm going to get it. No, it doesn't mean that. You may have the genes for it, but whether those genes are turned on or not is going to be dependent on you and what you're doing.
That's powerful insights. As I'm hearing you speak, and what I'm hearing is legacy, right? Ultimately, we're leaving a legacy for our families, and how we do anything is how we do everything. So as we take care of our health destiny, if we take care of our mind, we take care of our spirit, all those things come in alignment, and eventually the body will break through, and the body will absolutely do what the body's going to do. We can alter that based upon what we're putting into it. So how did this start out? I heard something about a TEDx. How did this whole thing come about?
Well, I just did a TEDx, and what an honor to be chosen to do a TEDx. And I talked about my 35 years in education and how I saw children changing in my 35. I did not teach. The last year I taught, I was not teaching the way I did when I first started out, because they can't handle it. They have a hard time processing information.
If anybody doesn't know Jeanne, she comes straight at you. So if you can't handle the truth, be careful, because Jeanne will give you the truth. But continue.
It's true. It's true. So because of that TED Talk, and I had connected with, her name's Jeanne Carr, amazing woman. We started working together in Plant Pure Nation, and we connected through that. And that's Nelson Campbell. They've got a whole grassroots movement through Plant Pure Nation. They've got foods, as a matter of fact, that come frozen, and they just started a dry line. So she and I had connected through Plant Pure Nation, and that was pretty amazing. And, she and I had connected and said, you know what, the New Year's coming up, let's do a challenge, because I think people are ready for it. Because I was even on the cover. I don't know if I told you this or not. I was on the cover of Woman's World. Okay? I mean, Woman's World, on every cover, you're going to see how to lose weight and then have a recipe for some decadent dessert, you know, and there's just, and they're always promoting the diet du jour, you know, how are you going to lose that weight? And I made the cover of it. I didn't see that coming totally.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Just seemed like I was it was in the grocery store, and I look over and I saw myself and I'm like, they didn't tell me I was going to be on the cover. I mean, I just looked over and went, what? How did that happen? That was crazy.
That's impact, my friend. That is impact.
I know. So, but I mean, the point I'm trying to make is that if a magazine like Woman's World is promoting a whole food, plant-based diet, I think its time has come.
Yes.
And so that's why we're doing this challenge, because a lot of people, it's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to begin. Where do I start? What do I do? I don't know. So that's why we're doing this. So
and I'm a firm believer, Jeanne, and something is better than nothing. So start somewhere. But the key is you have to start.
Every
you
journey
don't start, you're going to keep getting what you got for the last 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
Right.
Just keep coming back at you.
Every journey starts with the first step.
Yeah. So I got 3 things I wrote down here. I like to take notes as I'm going through, and I'm in these mastermind calls, and I'm always constantly in these webinars and stuff. I like to jot down 3. So I wrote down 3 things here that I'm hearing from this conversation with my interviewer, Dr. Jeanne Schumacher. Everybody, my name is Joe Sherman. It's an honor to be here with you today. But here's 3 takeaways that I'm receiving that I would let you build on this, Jeanne. But number 1 thing is food. What are we putting into the body, right? Because everything that we put into this body is either going to heal us or it's going to tear down the body, making us weaker, susceptible to whatever else the environment's putting out there right now. And we know we're in a very tough space right now. The second thing I'm hearing is some form of exercise. Get the body moving. One of the things I can always remember, Mr. Joe Fina, one of my teachers, 45 years this guy taught auto mechanics in high school. He says if your car is idling, you're putting carbon onto the valves, clogging up the car engine. If we don't put the right fuel into our bodies, we're going to clog up our valves and we're not going to run at a peak efficiency. And the third thing I'm hearing is the outside influences of the world, the toxicities. And we talked about the Pure Haven line that you have association with, and you can absolutely get those non-toxic products through you that you talk about, because women put a lot of stuff on their face. They put it on their arms. What are we putting? Was it 26 seconds it takes for that to absorb into the bloodstream? And that's not going away. So no wonder why people can't get pregnant. No wonder why people are obese. No wonder why people have no energy.
Some of those chemicals are obesogens, you know, that cause you to become even more obese.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's a vicious cycle. And so once we can break that cycle and break all of these points, oh my God, you feel, and that's the thing, feeling so good. That's what I love.
I see you glowing. I see you glowing as you speak about this. So it's in your heart, it's in your passion, it's in your soul. And I know when you first met me, I had this big chubby face and I was all bloated up on the roof, sedating with alcohol, sedating my mind, because nobody got what I was doing. I was like, and you guys, let's go do this, let's go do this. And they're like, no, I don't want to do this. Okay, well, I'll just do what you're doing. So most of society does what everybody else is doing. How do we break away from that?
Right. We'll start with this challenge.
Perfect.
Join us. You go to plantbasedchallenge.net, sign up, and love to have you join us, because I'm telling you, it'll be the first step on the journey to changing your health destiny.
I love it. And you also have a Facebook page. It's the Westchester Plant-Based page on Facebook.
That's a group. I've got a Facebook page, Simply Plant-Based, and the Plant-Based Advantage. But I also have a Facebook group, Plant-Based Westchester. So, you know,
that's a private group. Anybody can join.
No, anybody can join. It's a public group, and there's no geography police. You know, like you have to be from Westchester. No, whatever. I have people from all over the world in the group, and so we help each other.
That's awesome. And I know you're getting ready to you left the classroom. You're going to retire. You're going up to Cape Cod. So are you going to change the name from Westchester Plant-Based to Cape Cod Plant-Based and open up a restaurant out there selling all these amazing products? What's going on?
I already have Plant-Based Cape Cod. And
I love it.
That's already there. And speaking of, no, I'm not starting a restaurant because there is Plant City in Providence, Rhode Island. And if you ever get a chance to go there, it is incredible. Kim Anderson, amazing. She took this warehouse, gutted it, and turned it into 4 plant-based restaurants that are incredible. Plus, she left an area for a teaching area. So I go up there once a month, usually not in the wintertime, but I teach once a month up there. And now I'm going to be doing online classes in conjunction with Plant City. So the food up there is exquisite. It's through Matthew Kenny. I mean, plant-based, gourmet, vegan, incredible. So, if you ever need, and it's becoming a destination. You see people coming from all over to driving through. And she had plans to expand this. But now with COVID, what she's doing is she went around and bought up all these restaurants that closed that have drive-throughs, and she just opened up Plant City drive-through. So you just put your order in, you drive through and pick it up.
That's amazing. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Joe Schirmer. I'm a real estate investor of 20 years. I retired at 50 years old. I volunteered my time for the last 2.5 years serving some high-level men at the next level of experience. And now I'm getting back into the game of real estate. We're going to be building veteran homes. We have a nonprofit organization. I'm the president of the Rises One Foundation. We're going to be building veteran homes. So I highly endorse Jeanne Schumacher. If you guys really want to take charge of your health destiny, this is a person of integrity, honesty, and she knows what she's talking about. And those 3 things go a long way in my book. So that's one of the reasons I want to have you on here today, Jeanne, and share your story, share what you offer to this world, because at the end of the day, we have to add value to each other's life. There's no other way we can rise as one unless we have all of us doing something collectively going in that same direction. And when we see what's going on out there in the world right now, it's not a very good place out there. But when we get around Jeanne, you can see her lighting up. You get around people that are operating from a place of guidance. Like, we're being guided on this journey of life, right? So more people, when we do what we're supposed to do, and that goes for everybody listening to this message, when you do what you're supposed to do, everybody else is going to watch what you're doing and say, I want to be part of that. How do I join? How do I become part of this tribe, so to speak, right? Because I was listening to something last night to talk about a nation. How do we come back to one nation where we all are on the same journey together? Because ultimately, together we can go far. Individually, we can go fast. And when you go fast, you burn out. But when you go far, the legacy that you leave behind is the absolute blessing. So final words, we have the 7-day challenge coming up on Saturday, 6 a.m. start. That's free. You have a VIP package you'll be offering through that program. This is amazing, Jeanne. So thank you so much for being on here today. I really want to say thank you for your time and your energy today and enlightening this world with your gifts. You have amazing gifts of sharing the plethora of knowledge of 35 years in the classroom and all this chemistry, how the body is made up and how we can absolutely heal ourselves and get rid of cancers and diabetes and MS and lupus and all these things that a lot of a society has. We thought the doctor just diagnoses and that's who we are. The reality, that is not who we are. We are who we choose we want to be. So if you want to take charge of your health destiny, I highly endorse Jeanne Schumacher. This Saturday, we are starting a Simply Challenge. Kathy will be there. I will be there. Chuck will be there. I know many of you will end up being there because, listen, you can do anything for 7 days. Go out there and just go all in for 7 days and see how this transforms your life in 7 days. And then you decide from that space how to move forward in this life. Final thoughts, Jeanne?
Thank you, Joe. First of all, for taking the time to be with me here today. I mean, I really, really appreciate it. And what you've done is amazing with all the things that you're doing, especially with the veterans and all the support that you are to helping them, because I think in so many ways we've forgotten our veterans. And so you are creating a space for them to live. And so that's awesome. So all of us are, people like you are taking the time to put forth energy to help other people. And when you do that, it comes back in spades to you. So I can't wait. I'm so excited about this challenge and look forward to helping anybody else who's out there that wants to learn about this. So thank you.
Absolutely. So go to the website again is
plantbasedchallenge.net.
So I'm looking forward to this challenge. I know it's going to test me because one of the things I'm going to be doing here very shortly is a 24-hour straight work day building on one of these veteran houses for the veterans. So we're going to see how I hold up with this new diet and this new body, this new exercise regime that I've been putting in. It's going to test me to go 24 hours straight with no sleep, but I'm up to a challenge. I'm up to a challenge, and I know if we're going to serve other people, like how you're serving people here with the Simply Based, if we're serving other people, guess what? Life and the universe is going to serve us back.
Right.